Welcome to Loving Life, a guide to a positive mindset. I'm your host, Lisa. I'm a mindset and energy coach, and each week you'll discover mindset shifts, energy practices, and real life tools to help you feel more confident, calm, and in flow, because you deserve to love the life you're creating. I'm so glad you're here with me. Let's get going on today's episode. Welcome to this week's episode of Loving Life. Now, have you ever heard someone say, "I'm just not feeling aligned," and secretly thought, what does that even mean? If the word alignment makes you picture crystals, incense, and someone floating around barefoot in a field, then stay with me. Because today I am going to explain what we actually mean by alignment when it comes to working with our energy, with our nervous system. I'm going to set the record straight. Now, before we get into all of that, I just want to, as always, take a look and see where the place with the highest amount of downloads was last week. And last week, that was in Denver. And then we've got Dallas in Texas and Sydney. So thank you, as always, to the people in those places. Thank you wherever you are listening from. And thank you to everybody who reached out following last week's episode. Now, I don't know what was going on with me last week. Looking back, I honestly do think it was the full moon that we had. Quite a few people got in contact after listening and said there was nothing wrong with that episode. It made complete sense. I knew exactly what you were going on about. Yeah, I don't know what was wrong with me. And I think it was the moon, because a lot of those people also felt the same. So just off. Just don't know what's wrong with you. Can't really put your finger on it. But I am pleased to say that literally the following day, I felt completely back to normal. In fact, I had the best day the following day. So on the Saturday, I woke up. I think I'd done a meditation the night before. I'd fallen asleep to it, and it was a beautiful meditation. And I woke up feeling really refreshed. I had a lovely day with Rufus, which is weird, very unusual. He was a really good boy, fairly calm. The weather was lovely, so I managed to sit out in the garden with him all morning. And then I had a breathwork session with some of my inner circle members on Saturday afternoon. And that was amazing. So it went from on Friday and Thursday, and Wednesday, and actually Tuesday and Monday as well. But it went from on Friday feeling all over the place, feeling like what the hell is wrong with me, to Saturday thinking, oh my God, literally best day ever. So there we go. So what is alignment? And I did start to touch upon this last week in last week's episode, I think. No, I have listened back to it. I listened back earlier actually. And yes, I did start to touch upon this last week when I talked about our energetic centers. So alignment is when something matches up. Like, put simply, alignment is when something matches up with something else. The way that we are talking about it, in the self-development or spiritual or whatever you want to call it, you don't have to be spiritual, which I'm going to go on to in a minute. But in the world that we are in, the self-development, let's say self-development, it could simply mean that your actions match your values, your beliefs, your feelings. That is alignment. It could also mean that you stop saying yes to things that drain you. It's about noticing when something looks right on paper, but it actually feels wrong in your gut or somewhere else in your body, and having the courage to listen to that. That is true alignment. So staying in a job that looks good on paper but makes you feel shit, makes you feel dread every morning, that is not alignment. Saying yes to social plans when actually your body wants rest, that is the opposite of alignment. So why do people think that alignment is woo? So alignment in the energetic sense has become a bit of a buzzword, and even I am guilty of using it without always explaining what I mean by it. And although I did explain what I meant by it last week, I'm pleased to say. But things like, and I saw this on LinkedIn, that somebody had posted, like it said, energetic alignment means expanding your window of tolerance so you can stay grounded. Like, what does that even mean? If you look into those things, then yes, you can work it out. But as a sentence, energetic alignment means expanding your window of tolerance. Like, to the average person, that doesn't make any sense. What does it even mean? Even Gabby Bernstein, I found this on one of her website pages, or something on the internet, but where she said it's about getting into alignment with the universe and allowing your desires to come to you instead of trying to force, push, or control them. Now that sounds amazing, but what does being in alignment with the universe mean? So somewhere along the way, words like energy and alignment have got wrapped up in fluffy language like that. Things like that make you feel like you have to be spiritual or have to be into manifestation and things like that. Like, obviously, I'm sure most of you listening probably are into that kind of thing, but you don't have to be. Like, we all need to be aligned, whether we are into that kind of thing or not. Alignment isn't about being spiritual enough. It isn't about being positive enough or having your life perfectly together. It's about your mood, focus, nervous system, emotional state, body language, and presence, your presence, all working together and feeling matched up, feeling right. Like, when you just walk out the house and everything just feels right. You walk into a room and everything just feels right. So the nervous system is so important, actually, when it comes to alignment. We've all heard and said the term when your nervous system is out of whack. But what this actually means is that you are stuck in chronic stress mode. Stuck, like you're unable to get out of it. And even when there are no active threats, as it were, this can result in, a number of things, actually. So physically, it can lead to constant fatigue. So that wired but tired, you might have heard that saying, where you get headaches, tight muscles, digestive issues, and poor sleep. It can result mentally or emotionally. So overwhelming anxiety, panic attacks, irritability, anger outbursts, emotional numbness, and also difficulty concentrating. And then it can also result in our behaviours as well. So feeling on edge or constantly scanning for danger, overreacting to small issues, or shutting down or isolating. So those are things that can happen when we are stuck in chronic stress mode, when our nervous system is out of whack. Now, our energetic centres that I've been talking about for the last 7 weeks, 8 weeks, they are directly linked to our nervous system, along with the vagus nerve. Now, the vagus nerve is something that I've learned quite a lot about in the past, I was about to say months, but actually, because when I've been training for my breathwork accreditation, I've been doing that for nearly 2 years now, but there we go. I've passed now, by the way. So this is something that I have learned quite a lot about, and it is directly linked to our nervous system. It connects our brain to various parts of the body, and it runs from the base of the brain right down to the abdomen. So it passes through much of our chakra system, the energy centers. And it's critical for mind-body connection, which you have, I'm sure heard me talking about many times, but that is where our thoughts, our emotions, and our beliefs directly influence our physical health, and vice versa. Our physical health impacts our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. So balancing the energetic centers and stimulating the vagus nerve helps to regulate the nervous system. So reduced stress, better emotional responses, and basically a calmer life. Who doesn't want that? But how does it do that? So because the vagus nerve passes through much of the chakra system, it acts as a physical bridge connecting the physical with the energetic. Particularly the throat, the heart, and the solar plexus, and the sacral, actually, because it physically passes through those. But working with the vagus nerve and all of the energy centers, it helps to regulate our whole nervous system. So some ways, I thought you might like some quick ways that we can help to regulate the nervous system. Something that you can do every day, literally in like 10 seconds. So these work with the vagus nerve and the energetic system, the chakra system. So grounding and gentle movement. So things like yoga or even just some mindful stretching. You don't have to do yoga. It can be just mindful stretching. It helps to connect your body, helps you to connect you to your body and release stored trauma in the nervous system. And then breathing. So slowing down the breath stabilizes our heart rate and it calms the fight-flight response. The fight-flight response is the stress that we were talking about earlier, the stress mode that we were talking about earlier, where our body is always searching for threats. It tells our body, it tells our brain, and it tells our energy that we are safe. So simply slowing down the breath. In fact, and something else I've learned whilst learning about breath work is that, I saw this earlier when I was going through my notes. So many people actually have a deficiency of carbon dioxide, CO2, due to overbreathing. So that is when we are breathing too fast, known as chronic hyperventilation. Overbreathing reduces CO2 levels, causing blood vessels to constrict and reducing oxygen delivery to cells. So not only do we have reduced CO2 levels, we have reduced oxygen levels as well. So that is why breathing is so essential when it comes to regulating our nervous system. And because the vagus nerve is linked to so many different parts of our body and the mind and body connection, breathing or slowing down your breathing, I should say, or altering your breathing pattern can change the messages that are sent to your brain and to different parts of the body. This influences how you think, how you feel, how you act. There we go. When the vagus nerve is functioning well, it supports a balanced state, which basically means aligned. But this helps alleviate anxiety, it helps alleviate chronic stress and physical discomfort, which allows for higher functioning chakra energy. It all works together. So basically, nervous system work, energy alignment, it's all so important to having a calm mind and a happy, positive life, something that we all want. Now, I don't want to brag, but this is exactly what the inner circle offers you. So focusing on the emotional aspects of the energetic centers that play such a vital role in your nervous system management. There's also meditations to help calm your nervous system, and most of these are linked to the energy centers. And of course, now there's the addition of breathwork sessions. So what I've just explained and what I've just described is exactly what you get in the inner circle. So I am opening up. You may remember me mentioning a few weeks ago that I am going to open up a live session for you. So this is a free live experience called the Sunday Reset. It's basically a chance to step inside, see what it feels like inside the inner circle. So think coaching, reflection, think energy work, an hour that is completely for you. I will tell you more over the next couple of weeks. I would really love you to join me, even if you haven't ever considered joining the inner circle. It's just your chance to experience working with me and, of course, have that little reset. So make sure you head to the show notes and register for that, and I will send you all the details. So why, when you're on a self-development journey, why is it so important to consider the energetic aspect as well? If you are just doing mindset work alone on your self-development journey, mindset alone tells you to think positively, to reframe your thoughts. But energy work helps, because what if your body still feels unsafe? No matter how hard you try to reframe your thoughts, if your body is still holding on to things from the past, or illnesses, or just, stored energy that shouldn't be there anymore, then it's going to feel unsafe. So that is why, if you listened to last week's episode, we said about speaking up. But what if you don't feel safe to speak up? That is where the energy work comes into it as well. So I hope you have learnt something interesting from this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please let me know, and make sure you register for it would be helpful if I told you when it was, actually, wouldn't it? So the Sunday Reset is actually going to be on the 24th of May, which in the UK is a bank holiday. Now, I'm going to do it at 7 p.m. Because even if you're not in the UK, whatever time it is for you on that Sunday, it's a perfect time for a reset. Unless you are in Sydney and don't get up at 4 a.m, but there will be a replay. But whether you are in the UK and it's evening, or in the US and it is the late morning or afternoon, it's a great time to reflect. It's a great time to get your head straight before the week ahead. So hopefully that time is manageable for you if you want to join. There will be a replay, so make sure you register anyway, and you will have access to the replay. So yeah, I am looking forward to welcoming you and giving you a little insight into my world. Okay, thank you so much for coming back today. Thank you. If you feel called to share this episode with anybody or leave me a review, that would be bloody fantastic. I will see you next week. Have the best week. And yeah, keep loving life. Bye. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could take a moment to subscribe, rate, and if you're listening on Apple, as 95% of you do, review. It really helps the podcast reach more people who are ready to shift their mindset and raise their vibration. And if you know someone who would benefit from today's episode, feel free to share it with them. Until next time, keep loving life and know that I'm sending you so much love.